The moon was quiet, its gray surface bathed in pale light. Theo adjusted his helmet and stepped carefully over the dust-covered floor of the abandoned research station. He had come here to repair old machinery, but the place felt empty, eerie, and alive at the same time. Something in the air made him pause, listening for even the smallest sound. A faint rustle echoed from a dark corner. Theo froze, heart pounding. He shined his flashlight slowly toward the noise and saw 6 small, shadowy shapes huddled together. At first he thought they were robots or stray animals, but as the light touched them he saw their eyes, large, glowing wolf-like eyes staring at him in fear. They were small, no bigger than children, with silver-gray fur and long, delicate tails. Their ears twitched as they tried to understand if he was a threat. One of the girls, braver than the others, stepped slightly forward, her tiny claws scratching the floor. Theo knelt down, keeping his hands visible, and spoke softly. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The girls didn't move at first. They had clearly been hiding for a long time. Their fur was dusty and their bodies were thin from hunger. Theo's heart sank. "You've been alone, haven't you?" he murmured. The girls made small, cautious sounds, soft growls and whimpers. Theo realized they had escaped something dangerous, something far bigger than themselves. He looked around and noticed signs of a struggle, scratched walls, torn curtains, and scattered debris. Whoever, or whatever, had left these girls here had wanted to find them. Theo carefully approached, holding out a small packet of protein bars he carried. "Food," he said gently. "You're safe here. Take it." The smallest wolf girl sniffed the bar, then hesitated. Theo waited patiently, letting her decide. Slowly she took it and nibbled, her siblings watching. Their eyes were cautious but curious. He realized that the girls were smart. They understood danger and judged whether he could be trusted. Theo smiled faintly. "Good. You're learning to trust me." As the girls ate, Theo examined their surroundings. The station had been abandoned for decades. Broken monitors flickered occasionally, and dust covered every surface. Yet the station still had power in some sections, enough for life support and lighting. Theo knew he could make it a safe place for them, at least temporarily. He carefully guided the girls to a secure room with reinforced walls. "This will be your safe space," he said. He placed soft mats on the floor and set up small lights to mimic sunlight. The wolf girls circled the area cautiously, sniffing, exploring, but staying close to each other. Theo watched them, noting how each one had a distinct personality. One was shy, hiding behind her sisters. Another was bold, testing every corner. Another watched Theo closely, as if measuring his intentions. As night fell on the lunar surface, Theo worked on securing the station. Broken sensors were repaired, doors were reinforced, and alarms were set to warn of approaching danger. He kept glancing at the girls, who were now slowly growing more comfortable, curling up in small clusters. Theo realized that survival on the moon was not just about machines or technology, it was about understanding behavior, trust, and the courage to face fear. He also thought about their mother. From what he could tell, the wolf girls had escaped from a powerful predator. Their own mother, a legendary lunar wolf queen known for her ruthlessness. Theo shivered at the thought. He was just a human, small and weak compared to such a creature, yet he knew he had to protect these girls. The odds were against him, but he believed in intelligence, preparation, and patience. During the long night, Theo spoke softly to them, telling stories about humans, the moon, and the stars above. The wolf girls listened quietly, some curling closer to his warm suit. They did not understand every word, but they sensed safety. Theo had never been a fighter. His strength was in his mind, his careful observation, and his ability to plan ahead. Tonight that might be enough. When a faint alarm beeped from the outer sensors, Theo's heart raced. Someone, or something, was approaching. He held his hand up to calm the girls. "Stay calm," he whispered. The sensors only detected dust stirred by wind. Still, the incident reminded him of the danger outside. The wolf mother would not stop searching, and he had only bought time. By morning, the girls were more comfortable, exploring the room, playing quietly, and even following Theo as he worked on the station's machinery. He smiled, realizing that the bond was beginning. They had no weapons, no armor, and yet they trusted him. And in return he promised himself that he would keep them safe, no matter the cost. Theo knew the challenges ahead. The lunar environment was harsh and the wolf mother was relentless. But he also knew that humans had an edge: cleverness, patience, and courage. He would use these to protect the girls. Slowly, as the pale light of the lunar sunrise filtered through the station windows, Theo looked at the wolf girls and said softly, "We'll survive this. Together." The small pack of lost wolf girls, once abandoned and afraid, had found a protector. And the quiet human nerd, underestimated by the galaxy, was about to show that courage, intelligence, and care could be more powerful than claws, teeth, or ferocity. On this desolate moon, a story of survival, trust, and unexpected heroism had begun. The morning light on the moon was pale and soft, spilling across the abandoned station. Theo moved quietly, checking the security systems and repairing broken lights. The 6 wolf girls followed at a cautious distance, their ears twitching, tails low. They had begun to trust him, but their fear of the outside world still lingered. Each of them had been hurt before, and the memory of their ruthless mother haunted them. Theo knelt on the floor and opened a small crate of supplies. He pulled out food, water, and a few small blankets. "Come here," he said gently. "You need to eat and rest." The girls approached slowly, one at a time, sniffing the offerings. Theo smiled as they began to relax, eating quietly and cautiously. He noticed how each girl reacted differently. One was bold, grabbing the food quickly, another stayed at the edge, watching him carefully, and another tilted her head curiously, trying to understand him. "You're all very smart," Theo said softly. "And very brave. I'm glad you're here." The girls tilted their heads as if they understood a little. Over the next few hours, he began teaching them simple ways to survive in the station. He showed them how to find hidden supplies, check the power systems, and detect approaching danger. He spoke slowly and clearly, using simple words, but his tone was patient and kind. The wolf girls listened carefully. They were curious, playful, and clever in their own way. One of the girls figured out how to turn a small lever to open a storage locker, startling the others and making them giggle quietly. Theo laughed. "See? You're learning fast. That's good." He realized that intelligence was not measured by size or species. These small creatures were clever, observant, and capable of learning quickly. As the day passed, Theo and the girls explored the station together. They found hidden corners, secret tunnels, and old storage rooms. Theo made each discovery a learning moment, showing them how to use the equipment safely and how to create simple alarms to warn of intruders. The wolf girls were excited by each lesson, their tails wagging and ears twitching. The bond between them grew stronger with each shared moment. At one point, Theo noticed that the girls were curious about his tools. He showed them a small scanner, demonstrating how it could detect movement and heat. The girls watched closely, their eyes bright. One of them reached out a paw, gently touching the device. Theo smiled. "Careful. That's for learning, not for breaking," he said. She blinked, then nodded, clearly trying to understand. By evening, Theo had taught the girls a small routine: eat, explore safely, check alarms, and rest. They curled up together in the safe room, watching him as he worked. Theo realized that trust was growing not only in the girls but also in himself. He felt responsible for their safety, but he also felt proud. Even small beings could inspire respect when they were smart, brave, and willing to learn. Outside, the lunar winds whispered across the dusty plains. Theo kept an eye on the sensors, knowing the wolf mother could arrive at any moment. He also knew the girls needed to feel secure, not just physically but emotionally. He spoke softly to them as they settled down. "You're safe here. I won't let anyone hurt you. Not now, not ever." The girls listened, some pressing close to him, seeking warmth and comfort. As night fell, Theo set up a small light in the corner of the room, casting soft shadows on the walls. He watched as the girls played quietly, exploring toys and simple puzzles he had made from spare parts. Their laughter and soft growls filled the room. Theo smiled. Even on a desolate moon, in an abandoned station, joy could still exist. He realized that protecting them was not just about defense, it was about teaching, guiding, and sharing trust. Later he taught the girls how to hide and stay still in case of danger. "Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stay calm," he said. The girls practiced, hiding behind furniture and listening for his instructions. Theo was impressed by their speed and intelligence. They could learn quickly and adapt to situations better than he expected. Humans had their edge, but so did these clever lunar wolf girls. Together they could survive. Theo also noticed their personalities more clearly now. One girl was shy and thoughtful, always observing. Another was adventurous, eager to explore. Another was playful, teasing the others gently. One was cautious, calculating each move. Another was bold, sometimes challenging Theo's instructions. And the last was quiet but clever, always finding solutions to small problems. Theo smiled. Each one was different, yet they worked together, learning from him and from each other. By dawn, Theo and the girls had a small routine. He fed them, taught them, and repaired the station while they learned, played, and explored safely. The bond between them was strong. They trusted him and he trusted them. He realized that courage did not always come from strength, and protection did not always come from weapons. Sometimes intelligence, patience, and care were more powerful. As the sun rose over the lunar horizon, casting soft light through the windows, Theo looked at the 6 small figures huddled together. "We're going to be okay," he said softly. The girls looked up at him, tails flicking, ears perked. They had begun to understand that this human was not just their protector. He was their teacher, their friend, and the person who had given them hope. And in that quiet moment, Theo knew that the bond he was forming with these 6 lost lunar wolf girls would be the foundation for survival. Together, they were stronger than any danger, cleverer than any enemy, and capable of facing the harsh moon with courage, intelligence, and trust. On this lonely lunar station, a small human nerd had become their hero, and the adventure was only beginning. The lunar night was quiet, but Theo knew that quiet never lasted long. He watched the sensors he had carefully repaired earlier, scanning the dark horizon. The 6 wolf girls slept in the safe room, their small bodies curled together, tails flicking lightly in dreams. Theo adjusted a panel, checking the alarms and motion detectors, and then froze. A faint signal flashed on the monitor, movement outside the station. Theo's heart quickened. It was the wolf mother. He had feared this moment, knowing she would eventually track her lost daughters. She was enormous, ruthless, and clever, unlike any predator he had faced. But he also knew that brains, preparation, and calm thinking could be more powerful than sheer strength. He moved quietly to the girls' room and gently shook one awake. "Stay calm," he whispered. "We have to move carefully. Someone dangerous is outside." The girls opened their eyes slowly, sensing his tension. Theo gestured for them to follow him to a hidden corridor he had prepared. The girls moved silently, trusting him completely now. Outside, the wolf mother's shadow moved across the lunar dust, massive and intimidating. Her glowing eyes scanned the terrain, looking for her daughters. Theo watched her through a reinforced window, noting her patterns. She would not rush blindly. She was patient and cunning, and she expected obedience and fear from the girls. But she had not expected a human to interfere. Theo quickly activated small alarms in strategic locations, not to attack but to confuse. Lights flashed in corners, motion sensors tripped in false directions, and small vents released clouds of dust. The wolf mother growled, pausing and sniffing the air. She realized that someone was cleverly defending the girls. Her patience turned to curiosity, and then irritation. He guided the girls through narrow maintenance tunnels, teaching them to stay low and move quietly. "Follow my steps exactly," he said. "Do not make a sound and keep your eyes open." The girls moved quickly but carefully, their small paws making almost no noise. Theo felt a quiet pride. They were learning fast, not only to trust him but to think like him. At one point, the wolf mother paused near a side entrance. Her claws scratched against the metal floor and her eyes glowed brighter. Theo activated a sensor, sending a small burst of light across her path. She hissed and circled, confused. The wolf girls peeked from the tunnel, wide-eyed but calm. Theo whispered, "See? Brains win over strength. Always stay calm." As they moved deeper into the station, Theo prepared simple traps to slow her down. A panel that opened briefly would release sand, a small lever would trip a harmless but startling alarm, and vents released clouds of dust when pressure was applied. Every mechanism was designed to confuse, not harm, but it worked perfectly. The wolf mother paused repeatedly, frustrated by the cleverness of her opponent. Theo also encouraged the girls to help. "Use your ears, your eyes, your instincts. You are faster and smaller than her. You can move where she cannot." They nodded and followed instructions carefully, dodging sensors and hiding behind corners. One of the bolder girls even helped trigger a dust vent, watching with fascination as the wolf mother growled and retreated slightly. Hours passed and the wolf mother's patience began to waver. She realized that brute force alone could not overcome this human's cleverness. Theo had set up the station perfectly, using every tool, every sensor, and every corridor to his advantage. The wolf mother circled the station repeatedly, testing each alarm, but she could not predict the traps or the clever routes Theo had prepared. During a brief rest, Theo whispered to the girls, "You've done well. Stay alert, but know that brains can win against even the strongest predator. You are learning fast." The wolf girls curled close to him, taking comfort in his voice. They had come to understand that this small human, quiet and nerdy, was their protector, and more than that, a teacher of survival. Finally, the wolf mother gave a low, frustrated growl and retreated slightly, sensing that her usual intimidation tactics were useless. Theo watched her carefully, knowing she might try again, but for now, they had a small victory. The girls had stayed calm, moved carefully, and followed instructions, proving that intelligence and patience could defeat raw power. As the moonlight shifted across the station, Theo allowed himself a small smile. He had protected the girls for one night, but he knew the wolf mother would return. Still, this small success had built confidence in the girls and in him. They had survived by thinking, by staying calm, and by working together. He helped the girls back into the safe room and gave them small meals. "You've done well today," he said. "Tomorrow we will practice more and you will learn even faster. You will be ready for anything." The girls settled in, tails wrapped around each other, eyes half closed but alert. They were learning that survival was not only about speed or strength, it was about intelligence, courage, and trust. Theo looked at the sensors one last time before resting himself. The wolf mother was still out there, massive and relentless, but her advantage had been neutralized at least for now. He realized that humans, small and underestimated, had an edge in thinking, planning, and strategy. His quiet determination had kept the girls safe. As he drifted to sleep in a small bunk, the wolf girls curled around him. Together they had faced the first wave of danger. And though the wolf mother would return, Theo knew that with patience, cleverness, and trust, they could survive, and maybe even turn the tables on the greatest predator they had ever known. The wolf mother's growl echoed through the lunar night, a low, terrifying sound that shook the floor of the abandoned station. Theo crouched behind a reinforced panel, peeking through a small viewport. Outside, her massive shadow stretched across the lunar dust, powerful and menacing. He could see the sharp curve of her teeth, the muscles rippling under silver fur, and the glow of her eyes scanning for any sign of her lost daughters. Theo turned to the 6 wolf girls huddled in the corner of the safe room. Their small bodies trembled, but their eyes were wide with focus. They had learned from him to stay calm, to move carefully, and to think. Theo knelt and whispered, "Stay close to me. Follow every instruction. Remember what we practiced." They nodded, tails curling tightly around them, ears perked, alert to every sound. The wolf mother circled the station, sniffing, clawing at doors, and testing barriers. Theo activated a simple trap. A panel opened briefly, releasing a cloud of fine lunar dust. The mother hissed and leaped back, momentarily confused. He gestured to the girls, and the boldest one nudged a small lever, triggering a loud metallic clang in another corner. The wolf mother's attention snapped toward the sound, giving Theo a small sense of satisfaction. He guided the girls through a hidden corridor, leading them to a reinforced maintenance chamber. "Quickly, stay low and use the shadows," he instructed. They moved as he directed, silent and precise. Theo had designed the route carefully. Narrow corridors where the wolf mother's size would slow her, small vents releasing dust clouds to obscure her vision, and low lights to confuse her sensors. The wolf mother's patience began to falter. She realized that brute force alone would not win. Theo had anticipated her moves, set traps that were simple but clever, and had trained the girls to stay calm and follow instructions. Every step she took was met with a calculated defense, and the predator's frustration grew. Theo whispered to the girls, "You can help too. Watch her, listen carefully, and act when I signal." They nodded, eyes bright and alert. The cleverest girl, the quiet one who often solved little problems, peeked around a corner and triggered a dust vent. The wolf mother growled, spinning in confusion, her eyes scanning for the source. Theo moved quickly, signaling another girl to trip a small alarm. The wolf mother froze for a moment, unsure where to focus, and that pause gave Theo an advantage. The wolf mother lunged toward a corridor, but Theo had anticipated it. A hidden panel opened, dropping a soft but noisy weight that blocked her path. She growled, circling again, realizing the human was cleverer than she expected. Theo whispered, "Brains over strength. Stay calm." The girls watched, learning that courage was not about fighting, it was about thinking and acting carefully. Hours passed as Theo and the wolf girls guided her through the station, using traps and clever misdirection. The wolf mother was relentless, but she had no idea where the girls were hidden, or how the human had prepared. Theo's quiet intelligence and careful planning had turned the station into a maze, confusing the predator without causing harm. At one point, the wolf mother paused near a reinforced door. Theo signaled the girls to stay still. He activated a simple alarm in another section of the station, drawing her attention away. She growled, circling but could not find the source. Theo whispered, "See? Smart thinking beats raw power." Always remember that. The girls watched, understanding for the first time that intelligence and strategy could save them from even the most terrifying predator. The wolf mother, exhausted and frustrated, realized that the humans' cleverness and the girls' cooperation made her usual intimidation useless. She gave a low growl and stepped back, sensing that her strength alone would not win this fight. Theo let out a small breath, knowing that this moment of hesitation could be their turning point. He approached the safe room slowly, motioning for the girls to stay quiet. "She's learning that brute force won't work," he whispered. "Stay calm and we can guide her away." Together they used a final distraction, a series of lights, dust vents, and metallic clangs. The wolf mother, confused and cautious, finally backed away, realizing that continuing her hunt could be dangerous. Theo had won, not with strength but with intelligence, planning, and patience. The girls, sensing the danger had passed for now, stepped out from the shadows, tails flicking, ears alert but relaxed. Theo smiled, seeing their small, bright eyes filled with trust and admiration. "You were all amazing," he said. "Bravery isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about thinking, staying calm, and helping each other." The wolf mother remained at a distance, watching but no longer attacking. Theo had proven that humans, even small and physically weak, had an unexpected edge. Their mind, patience, and strategy could overcome even the fiercest predators. The wolf girls learned an important lesson as well. Trust, teamwork, and cleverness could keep them safe where strength alone could not. As the lunar night passed, Theo guided the girls back to the safe room. He provided them with small meals and blankets, allowing them to rest. "You've done well today," he said softly. "We've faced the threat together and we survived. That's courage." The girls curled close, taking comfort in his presence. They were no longer just frightened survivors, they were students, learning to survive with intelligence and care. Theo stood at the viewport, watching the wolf mother retreat into the distance. He knew she would return eventually, but he was ready. The station, the girls, and his careful planning gave him an edge. And he knew that humans had an edge beyond brute strength: the mind, strategy, and the courage to act calmly in the face of danger. For the first time since the girls arrived, the station felt like a safe home. Theo had protected them, taught them, and shown them that bravery was not only in claws or ferocity but in thinking, guiding, and caring. And as the pale lunar sun began to rise, he knew that the final challenge, the wolf mother's ultimate test, was still ahead, but together they could face it. The next morning, the pale lunar light spread across the station, casting long shadows across the dusty floors. Theo moved quietly, checking sensors, reinforcing doors, and preparing for what he knew would be the wolf mother's final approach. The 6 wolf girls gathered near him, tails low but eyes alert. They had learned from him, gaining confidence and skill, but the threat of their mother still loomed. Theo crouched beside the girls, speaking softly. "Remember everything we practiced. Stay calm, think carefully, and trust your instincts. Together, we are stronger than her." The girls nodded, some stepping closer to him for reassurance. Their bond had grown in the past days, and they understood that survival depended not on strength, but on intelligence, teamwork, and calm courage. Outside, the wolf mother approached, massive and silent, her eyes glowing with fury. She could sense her daughters nearby but could not predict where they were hiding. Theo observed her from the viewport, analyzing every movement. He had learned her patterns. She attacked when frustrated, tested doors and sensors, and relied on intimidation. But she had not expected that a human could think faster, plan smarter, and use strategy instead of brute force. Theo guided the girls through hidden corridors, activating small alarms and dust vents to confuse their mother. The wolf girls moved with precision, following every instruction. One of the bolder girls triggered a light flash, another nudged a lever to release a cloud of dust, and the quietest one observed and communicated silently with Theo through gestures. The wolf mother growled, circling and trying to predict their next move, but she could not keep up. Theo whispered, "Brains over strength. Keep moving, keep calm." The girls obeyed, understanding that their safety depended on cooperation and cleverness. Theo had created a series of safe zones inside the station, each one a small puzzle designed to slow the mother while keeping the girls out of reach. Every step they took, every alarm they triggered, reminded the wolf mother that she could not dominate them through fear alone. The wolf mother tried to force her way into a corridor, but Theo anticipated it. A hidden panel released a harmless but noisy weight, startling her and making her pause. Another vent released a cloud of dust, further confusing her senses. The wolf girls, small and agile, moved silently through alternate routes, guided by Theo's careful instructions. She could see them, but catching them was impossible without a plan, and Theo had created a plan better than her brute force. Hours passed. The wolf mother grew tired, frustrated, and cautious. Theo realized that her strength alone was no longer an advantage. The girls had learned to cooperate, move quietly, and use their environment wisely. Theo had proven that even a small human without weapons or armor could protect those much larger and stronger through patience, intelligence, and strategy. Finally, Theo led the wolf girls to a central room with reinforced walls and a clear view of the station's outer perimeter. "Stay here safe and calm," he said. "Watch and learn. Courage isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about thinking first and acting wisely." The wolf mother appeared outside the room, growling, but she could not breach the defenses. Theo stepped forward, showing no fear, his eyes meeting hers. The wolf mother paused, sensing something she had never expected. A small, fragile human standing firm, unafraid, and fully in control of the situation. Theo had anticipated her moves, trained the girls to assist silently, and turned the station itself into a clever defense. She tilted her head, realizing that her power and aggression were not enough. The human had an edge she could not match: intelligence, preparation, and calm determination. Theo spoke softly but firmly. "You can see your daughters are safe. You can roar, growl, and try to scare us, but it will not work. If you want them unharmed, you must respect what we have done here." The wolf mother growled, her massive body tense, but she sensed that attacking further would not succeed. Slowly she backed away, acknowledging defeat, not through force but through respect for intelligence and strategy. The wolf girls, watching from their safe room, learned a lesson that would stay with them forever. Strength alone was not enough. Courage was not just in claws or teeth, but in cleverness, patience, and the willingness to act wisely under pressure. Theo had shown them that even the smallest human could be a hero, not because of size or power, but because of intelligence, careful planning, and quiet bravery. As the wolf mother retreated into the distance, Theo allowed himself a small smile. The immediate threat had passed and the girls were safe. He guided them back to the central room, giving them food and water. "You've all done well," he said. "Bravery is not only about fighting. It is about thinking, helping each other, and staying calm. Today you've seen how humans have an edge in ways you might not expect." The girls curled around him, tails wrapped together, ears flicking in quiet excitement. They had survived the wolf mother's relentless pursuit, learned to trust, and discovered the power of intelligence and teamwork. Theo's quiet, nerdy courage had protected them, taught them, and given them hope in a harsh lunar world. As the lunar day rose, casting silver light across the station, Theo looked out at the horizon. The wolf mother was gone for now and the station was secure. He had protected 6 lost wolf girls, not through strength or weapons, but through strategy, patience, and understanding. Humans, he realized, had a quiet edge that no predator could easily overcome: the ability to think, adapt, and act wisely, even in the face of overwhelming danger. The girls looked up at him, eyes bright, trusting, and full of admiration. Theo smiled. He had not only protected them physically but had taught them the power of intelligence, calm courage, and clever strategy. On this small, desolate moon, a human had proven that size, strength, or claws were not always the deciding factor. The mind, preparation, and quiet bravery could turn the tide, even against the fiercest predator. And in that moment, surrounded by the wolf girls who now trusted him completely, Theo knew that their survival was only the beginning. Together they could face any danger. Humans had an unexpected edge, one that no predator, no matter how powerful, could ever easily predict. And on this quiet lunar station, the small human nerd had become their hero,